Let me go back to the beginning here. Hello everybody, my name is Matthew Womack, and today I will be giving my presentation our final presentation for our international business class. Learning objectives. These are the 3 learning objectives that I will be focusing on during this presentation. Out of the list the learning objectives that we got in the syllabus and that Ms. Norwood put on the rubric for this presentation, I just felt like these 3 were kind of the key things that I learned during this class. The first one being explaining the concept and process of globalization. The second one, distinguishing between types of political, legal, and economic systems. And the third being explaining the strategic importance of social responsibility and sustainability in the international environment. With that being said, the first thing I will be talking about is explaining the concept and process of globalization. Globalization is the shift to a more unified world economy. With globalization, there are 2 key terms that kind of go along with it, and that's globalization of markets and globalization of production. Globalization of markets is simply the growth and sharing and dependency amongst other markets and other economies around the world. What's so great about globalization and globalization of markets is that you don't have to be a big firm or corporation in order to gain advantages that come along with globalization and taking your business international. With globalization of markets, competitors will follow each other around the world. This will create a more diverse market for everything involved. With globalization of markets, we have globalization of production. Globalization of production is the process of taking different parts of your production and putting them in different places around the globe. We see this all the time. There are many businesses around the world that use these lower and less developed countries with less costs and stuff to move their business there, or not necessarily their whole business, but just the parts of their production. And these organizations and firms, they have a huge advantage when it comes to cost and the revenue, because their revenue will a lot of times exceed their cost. Globalization of production is used to take advantage of the differences in cost and factors of production. The internet plays a big role in outsourcing as well. The debate for globalization. Both an increase in international trade and cross-border investment will initially lead to lower prices for goods and services. Globalization also stimulates economic growth, helps to create jobs, and raises incomes of consumers. The debate against globalization destroys jobs in economies that are both advanced and wealthy. And also, free trade promotes organizations to move manufacturing facilities to less developed countries. The second thing that I will be talking about is distinguishing between types of political, legal, and economic systems. A political system is simply the system of government within a nation, how their government works. With political systems, there are 2 degrees to which you can evaluate or analyze it. To the first degree, it's whether it's collectivism or individualism. Collectivism is a system that emphasizes collective goals over individual goals. So it's more about the goals of the society of that government rather than just one person. Like, if your business or whatever, that will never be bigger than what society needs. The next thing is individualism. Individualism is the total opposite of collectivism, just like how collectivism is the society's goals is more important than individual goals. Individualism is that individuals should have the right to choose their economic and political views. A democracy. A democracy is a government that is ruled by the people. This is the kind of government system that we see here in the United States. Like the United States, most democracies have the people vote in elected officials. Totalitarianism. Government has one person or group that has absolute control over everything and everybody. Most government systems that fall under totalitarianism are communistic systems. We see this with North Korea and Cuba with Castro. Those guys, they rig their elections. They have total control over the society and government that they're in. The people have no say about who gets to rule their country. Economic systems. There are three main types of economic systems. The first is a market economy. The second is a command economy. And the third is a mixed economy. A market economy is an economic system that is based on supply and demand. A command economy is when the government decides what goods and services are going to be produced. There is no innovation or creativity that comes with this economy. We see a command economy mostly in totalitarianism political systems with communistic governments. The government just has total control over everything in these kinds of political and economic systems, which leads to no diversity and no creativity when it comes to the markets there. A mixed economy. A mixed economy is a mix of both market and command economies. It's kind of given with the name. With the mixed economy, some sections are privately owned, whereas others are heavily state-owned. So in this kind of economy, it's almost like just a split between the government having total control over this part of the economy, whereas the people will have a little bit of control over this part of the economy. Lastly, with this learning objective, we have legal systems. The rules or laws of a country that determine whether behavior is good or bad is what a legal system is. Also, a legal system is how these rules are enforced. So with like here in the United States, it's, you can't go above 30 and the 30 mile per hour speed limit. It's stuff like that go into and fall under the legal systems. There are three main different types of legal systems: common law, civil law, and theocratic law. Common law is based upon tradition, precedent, and customs. Courts use these three things, tradition, precedent, and customs, to determine the outcome of a case. Civil law is based on a detailed laws organized into codes. Judges have less flexibility than common law systems. In a common law system, the judges are able to act freely based upon the tradition, precedent, customs of that political or in this government. Lastly is theocratic law. Totally on the other side of the spectrum when it comes to the laws. Common law and civil law are a little closer together in regards to this, because theocratic law is religious teachings are what determines the law and determines what's good or bad. The last thing I will be talking about is explaining the strategic importance of social responsibility and sustainability in the international environment. Social responsibility. Social responsibility is the idea that businesses and the people within business need to consider all social consequences of their economic actions when making decisions regarding their business. Social responsibility, if you believe you are a socially responsible business or organization, you use your power to promote social welfare. We see a bunch of people, or not people, businesses and firms who do not do this, and with this comes consequences. And in my opinion, it is important to be socially responsible as a business or organization, especially going into an international market, because you don't want to put the wrong image out there of what your business represents. Sustainability and social responsibility kind of go hand in hand with one another. Sustainability are strategies that will help the organization's success and also help the environment. So when you are coming up with strategies when it comes to marketing your product, you take into account what things are going to happen when you're trying to market this product that will affect the environment. A lot of times we see this with how these organizations are using their production, because the environment and production kind of go hand in hand with one another, how a lot of people's production can affect the environment in a negative way. It would not be smart to adopt a business that would hurt the environment. Businesses try to make sure that they do not take part in something that could cause damage to the environment. All these things are involved in sustainability, and just like how I said a little bit ago about the importance of social responsibility, it's the same with sustainability. You do not want to give that image to your business that you do not care about the environment and you do not care about the people around your business. In conclusion, the three things that I talked about during this presentation was explaining the concept and process of globalization, distinguishing between types of political, legal, and economic systems, and lastly, explaining the strategic importance of social responsibility and sustainability in the international environment. I hope you all had a great year, and I hope you were able to learn a little bit of something from my presentation. Thank you.